Microservices are like building blocks for software. Instead of one large application, we break it down into smaller, independent services. This makes our systems more flexible and scalable. But it also introduces new challenges. One of the biggest challenges is handling failures. In a microservice architecture, if one service fails, it can cause a ripple effect, bringing down other services that depend on it. This is where circuit breakers come in. They act like safeguards in our system, preventing failures from spreading and causing widespread outages. Think of a microservice architecture like a city's power grid. Each service is like a neighborhood, and they're all connected. If one neighborhood has a power outage, it shouldn't take down the entire city. Circuit breakers help isolate failures and keep the rest of the system running smoothly. They provide a way to handle failures gracefully and prevent them from cascading through our system. Imagine the electrical circuit breakers in your home. Their purpose is to protect your electrical circuits from overloads. If too much current flows through a circuit, the circuit breaker trips, cutting off the flow of electricity. This prevents damage to your appliances and wiring, and it also helps prevent fires. Circuit breakers in software work similarly. They protect our microservices by detecting when a service is experiencing problems, such as slow responses or timeouts. When a circuit breaker detects a problem, it trips, preventing further requests from reaching the troubled service. This gives the service time to recover and prevents the failure from impacting other parts of the system. In a microservice architecture, services often depend on each other to function properly. If one service becomes unavailable or slow, it can impact other services that rely on it. This can lead to a domino effect, where one failure triggers a cascade of failures throughout the system. Circuit breakers act as safeguards against these cascading failures. By isolating failing services, they prevent errors from propagating and bringing down the entire system. This makes our microservices more resilient and reliable even in the face of unexpected problems. Cascading failures are a major concern in distributed systems like microservices. Imagine a scenario where service A calls service B, which in turn calls service C. If service C experiences a slowdown, it can cause requests to back up in service B. This backlog can consume resources in service B, potentially leading to its failure. If service A continues to send requests to service B, unaware of the issue with service C, it can also become overwhelmed and fail. Circuit breakers prevent this domino effect by breaking the chain of failure. When a circuit breaker detects a problem with a downstream service, it trips, preventing further requests from reaching that service. This isolation allows the troubled service time to recover without impacting other parts of the system. Section 5. The 3 states of a circuit breaker. A circuit breaker operates in 3 main states: closed, open, and half open. Understanding these states is crucial to understanding how circuit breakers work. Closed state. In the closed state, the circuit breaker is operating normally, allowing requests to pass through to the downstream service. The circuit breaker monitors the success rate of these requests, looking for signs of trouble. Open state. When the failure rate of requests to a service exceeds a certain threshold, the circuit breaker trips, transitioning to the open state. In this state, the circuit breaker blocks all requests to the failing service, preventing further failures. Half-open state. After a predetermined timeout period, the circuit breaker transitions to the half-open state. In this state, the circuit breaker allows a limited number of requests to pass through to the downstream service. This allows the circuit breaker to assess whether the service has recovered. If these requests are successful, the circuit breaker transitions back to the closed state. If they fail, the circuit breaker transitions back to the open state. Section 6. Implementing circuit breakers in Java, Hystrix, and Resilience. 4J Java developers have access to powerful libraries for implementing circuit breakers. 2 popular options are Netflix's Hystrix and Resilience. 4J Hystrix is a mature library that was widely adopted within the Java community. It provides a rich set of features for fault tolerance, including circuit breakers, thread pools, and request caching. Resilience 4J is a newer library that focuses specifically on fault tolerance. It's designed to be lightweight and easy to use, making it a great choice for modern microservice architectures. Both libraries allow you to wrap your service calls in circuit breaker logic. This code snippet demonstrates how to wrap a service call with a circuit breaker. If the service call fails or times out, the circuit breaker will handle the failure according to its configured behavior. Section 7. Setting thresholds. Finding the right balance. Setting appropriate thresholds for your circuit breakers is crucial. If the thresholds are too sensitive, the circuit breaker might trip unnecessarily, even when the service is experiencing only minor hiccups. On the other hand, if the thresholds are too lenient, the circuit breaker might not trip when it should, allowing failures to cascade. The key is to find a balance that protects your system without being overly cautious. You'll need to consider factors such as the expected error rate of the service. Some services are inherently more prone to errors than others. The impact of a service failure. How critical is the service to the overall system? The time it takes for the service to recover. How long does it typically take for the service to recover from a failure? By carefully tuning your circuit breaker thresholds, you can ensure that they provide the right level of protection for your microservices. Section 8. Monitoring and logging. Keeping an eye on your system. Circuit breakers are powerful tools, but they're not a silver bullet. It's important to monitor their behavior and log their activity to ensure they're working as expected. Monitoring circuit breaker metrics, such as the number of trips and the current state, can help you identify potential problems in your system. For example, if you see a particular circuit breaker tripping frequently, it could indicate an underlying issue with the corresponding service that needs to be addressed. Logging circuit breaker events, such as transitions between states, provides valuable insights into how your system is handling failures. This information can help you diagnose and resolve issues quickly, minimizing downtime and improving the overall reliability of your microservices. Section 9. Fallback strategies, graceful degradation. When a circuit breaker trips, it prevents requests from reaching the failing service. But what happens to those requests? Instead of simply returning an error, you can provide fallback strategies to handle these situations gracefully. Fallback strategies can include returning a cached response. If you have previously cached responses from the service, you can return a cached value. Providing a default response. You can return a default value that's acceptable in the context of the request, calling a different service. If you have a backup service that provides similar functionality, you can redirect requests to that service. By implementing fallback strategies, you can ensure that your system remains available and responsive, even when individual services are experiencing problems. Section 10. Testing your circuit breakers, ensuring resilience. Thoroughly testing your circuit breakers is essential to ensure they're working as expected and protecting your system effectively. You should test various scenarios, including simulating service failures. You can simulate service failures by introducing artificial delays or exceptions. Testing different load conditions. How does the circuit breaker behave under normal load, peak load, and overload conditions? Verifying fallback mechanisms. Are your fallback strategies being executed correctly when the circuit breaker trips? By testing your circuit breakers rigorously, you can be confident that they'll provide the level of resilience you need to keep your microservices running smoothly. Section 11. Conclusion. Building resilient microservices with circuit breakers. In the world of microservices where services are interconnected and dependencies abound, fault tolerance is not a luxury, but a necessity. Circuit breakers are indispensable tools for building resilient microservice architectures. They act as guardians, protecting your system from cascading failures and ensuring that your services can gracefully handle unexpected problems. By understanding the principles of circuit breakers, implementing them effectively, and adhering to best practices, you can create a microservice architecture that's robust, reliable, and capable of withstanding the inevitable challenges of a distributed environment.
Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and press the bell icon to get the latest updates on technology.